We've got Monster. We've got Samuel. Actually, Samuel's seems to have actually got him whatever. He's frozen. Monster. What do you make of the game tonight?
I watched both games. Basically, all I gotta say is Hazard was shocking. He literally did not help Benzema at all. Varane, shocking as well. I did say to you anyway for a couple months ago that Real Madrid will be knocked out by Man City, and also Chelsea fans, stop comparing Ronaldo and Messi and Hazard. I'm sorry to say, I've said this all the time. Ronaldo's the best ever player to grace the Premier League. He would have been the best player to ever grace the La Liga, if not for Lionel Messi. They're not even comparable. And you saw him, Ronaldo, today balling out, scoring a banger for, I think, 25, 30 yards. And he scored a penalty as well. Come on, man. Come on.
And do you know what it is? I respect Eden Hazard. I really do. My kind of venom isn't actually aimed at Hazard. It's aimed at the fact, like, I actually know that Hazard's not fat. I just know it winds up his fanboys. Do you get where I'm coming from? He has
gained a lot of weight, though. He gained a lot of weight.
Look, I mean, I'm fat. Like, I got the belly. I got the belly, right? I got the dad bod going on. It's more to wind up the fanboys. And I've already seen it tonight, bro. I've seen people going, yeah, but it's because the ball's played through Benzema. The system isn't made for Zard. It's not his fault. These excuses are a disgrace. Because when Gareth Bale moved to Real Madrid and Benzema were there, the system was built to primarily benefit Ronaldo. But Bale still killed it over there. Benzema is the fourth highest goal scorer in Real Madrid history with 249 goals. And he hasn't been the central figure up until the last two seasons. It's a nonsense. All the excuses that people give Hazard. Hazard is a very good player, world-class at times. He deserves to be celebrated as a brilliant Premier League player. But when people start talking about second best, third best, the best in the world, for me, he's then open to ridicule, in my opinion. It's a madness.
Can I just say something as well? Can I say Gareth Bale should be ashamed of himself? I would say that because look at how bad Real Madrid were. If he can't get into that squad, I'm sorry. He has to be. He's a disgrace in my eyes. He's a disgrace.
Yeah, I'm not happy with what Gareth Bale's done on a number of levels. It isn't professional, and I don't condone it. At the same time, this is what happens with when you give someone the level of money that he's on. He's earning £450,000 a week as a base. Because of the age he is now, he's got 2 years remaining. Because of his age and his injury record,
they can't get rid of him.
No one's going to pay it. And what they should have done, Real Madrid, when they had the money to do it, is got rid of him and said, look, we'll still pay you 200 grand a week. Just get him out of the club, because you've got to put that focus somewhere else. At least it frees up some of that money. It's an absolute madness. KJ, eye test with us. Eye test. I've got to come to you, bruv, because you're one of the main people that has defended Eden Hazard. You told me this time last year we will see the best player in the world when he goes to Real Madrid. Yes, he had some injuries when he arrived, but he has no excuses now. Why is he continually failing to perform and seeing the likes of Raheem Sterling go past him as a football player?
Listen, today he was used incorrectly. I don't know why Zidane. Listen. I don't know why Zidane put him up against Kyle Walker. You know what Zidane should have done?
He's played against him many times before.
Listen. Zidane should have put him in a number 10 position and put Vinicius up in as a left winger against Kyle Walker, because Vinicius has the pace to
hang on.
threaten Kyle Walker. Eden Hazard. Let me explain why. Let me explain why. Let me explain why.
Go on, bro.
Because Eden Hazard is the type of guy that likes to is better at playing in tight spaces. He's an intricate player. He's not the pacey type of player that likes to beat players with pace. That's Vinicius. Vinicius should have been up against Kyle Walker. Hazard in a number 10. I think he was incorrect.
Let me stop you now. Let me stop you now. Firstly, if you want to, you're saying Vinicius is a fast player, then why would you put him up against the fastest fullback? That doesn't make sense. Secondly, Chelsea fans and Hazard fanboys like you told us for years Hazard can only play on the left. If you move him centrally, like Sarri,
he's not effective centrally.
He's not effective. So now you guys are changing your story to defend Eden Hazard. You can't. Do you know what? I think one of the biggest issues Hazard's got since his move, I do think he's unprofessional. I do think for a football player, he's overweight. Done it for years. There's only so long your body can take that kind of damage. Isn't he about the same age of Wayne Rooney when the decline started? Wasn't Wayne Rooney always ridiculed for coming back in preseason, slightly overweight, hasn't got the best diet, isn't as focused as maybe a Ronaldo or a Messi in terms of the professionalism? Are we starting to see the decline of Eden Hazard? Maybe. It's happened to many players this year. For me, I can't believe you're defending him.
Wait,
You can't tell me what I'm saying is incorrect.
I test. Can I ask you?
Can.
Have you not watched Chelsea for the Chelsea against Tottenham or Chelsea against Man City for the past, let's say, 5-6 years? Have you not seen Hazard go against Kyle Walker on many occasions?
Many times.
Many occasions. Like, what are you talking about, bruv? Hazard's not effective as a number 10. He blatantly is better playing on the left-hand side. He's way more effective playing from there. Do you know what I mean? Drifting in.
And normally, when you play against players like Kyle Walker, who's very quick and can go against a winger one-on-one, you want to play him with wingers who are a bit more technical or better in tight spaces because he exposes their weaknesses.
No, you don't, because Kyle Walker, you know, we have to put Vinicius up against him. Yeah, Vinicius has been in good form. Since lockdown, Vinicius has been on fire. I don't know why he never.
No, but Vinicius would have got eaten by Walker.
I think Hazard behind Benzema.
The problem is with everything. Okay, let's take it away from tonight's game. He scored 1 goal and created 4 goals all season. Okay, this man in the last 5 years. Okay, the last 5 years only has 3 Champions League goals in total. He only has 8 Champions League goals. That's why I say Raheem Sterling surpassed him. Raheem Sterling's on 20 Champions League goals already. And no, mate, that's important. Outputs as an inside forward are absolutely important, right? He has. You know, you look at their Premier League record. Raheem Sterling's 258 games or so, 86 goals and 64 assists. Hazard in 245 games, 85 goals, 61 assists. By the way, Hazard is 4 years older. So Raheem Sterling has been scoring those goals at a 4-year deficit of age to this man. Raheem Sterling has now surpassed him. And yes, Hazard might be a better dribbler. Hazard might have a better first touch. Hazard might have more ability. But who cares when it comes to delivering? You know,
so it's just the fact that you said, Sterling surpassed Hazard. Says it. Oh, the comment section. They know that's a ridiculous thing. And if you want to talk about outputs, wait a minute. 2 seconds. If you want to talk about outputs, Sterling has surpassed R9.
Stop talking.
You're bugging.
I know for a fact that Eden Hazard has more technical ability than Raheem Sterling. But you also know that I don't base my picks purely on that. For me, Sterling's just scored his 31st goal of the season. Give me an inside forward who's scoring plus 30 outputs every season. Champions League goals.
Sterling
over him every day of the week.
Has Sterling surpassed R9 now? In terms of output, look at R9's Champions League goals.
Right.
Has he surpassed R9? You like to talk about outputs, so let's talk about outputs.
Just stop. Let's talk about outputs. Just stop a second. You're now going on to one element as to why I think he's past Eden Hazard. Okay, I've just given you 3 or 4 reasons. Okay, I'm not saying it's just based on Champions League goals. That's the flaw. That's the fallacy in your argument. It's a false argument. It has no. I'm looking at Champions League goals. I'm looking at Champions League assists. I'm looking at what he's done at 4 years younger in football than someone that he plays in the same position as. Okay, I'm looking at how many individual goals he scored in a season, for example. And I'm talking about Hazard. I'm not talking about R9, who had a brilliant career up until the injuries. I'm talking about Eden Hazard versus Raheem Sterling, and I'm comparing multiple elements of their game, not one facet. That's the fallacy. That's the flaw in your argument. So it doesn't stack up. I've got a couple of super chats to do before anyone else jumps on here. For me, as far as I'm concerned, Hazard is past his best, and it's going to take a big effort for him to get himself back to where he needs to be next year. First one here, original base, and he says, Terry, I want to defend Bale, Hazard, not so much. Pav here says majority of that Real Madrid team is finished. Some of the big European clubs need a rebuild. The big English clubs that will dominate for the next 4 to 5 years. P.S. Hazard is finished. Go on.
I've been saying that. I said that before when we were talking about Paul Pogba and where would he go. And I'm saying that, Real Madrid, you go there, and it's not like you've come into the promised land. You can clearly see there's major work to be done because you got Modric coming up to big age. You got Benzema, even though he's still saucy. He was the best player for Madrid today. He's coming up to a certain age. You've got Ramos coming up to a certain age. They're getting there. Marcelo, Carvajal. So to say that like the Madrid, if you go to Madrid and be all rosy for any player right now is a fallacy. It's not. There's a lot of work to be done.
If the pandemic didn't hit, they would have bought Camavinga, and I think they would have bought Mbappe. But it's because of the pandemic. Probably Pogba didn't end up going as well. So
no. It is. That's just.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, and but you take it. We'll quote the great Barack Obama. Never let a good crisis pass you by. You got to grab onto these things and try and benefit yourself. But listen, as I said before, I like Eden Hazard. I think he's a good football player. But people like you damage his legacy. The millions of fanboys he has like you damage his legacy when you won't just come out and say, do you know what? He really had a bad season. I thought it'd be better. Instead, he's played in the wrong position. And by the way, if you played him in the 10 tonight and he was poor, it would be who? You'd be like, well, why is Zidane playing him in the 10? We all know he's ineffective in the 10. Whenever he
I would have said
game,
it was the right decision.
Whenever Hazard plays badly, it's always somebody else's fault. And do you know what? That's the attitude of losers. It's the attitude of losers when it's always somebody else's fault. It's like
Silver Spring is right though. Sterling is playing with the back off way better than.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy as well? Sterling's finishing is atrocious. I can't even hide. So for him to be scoring these goals today as well, look, his finishing is dreadful.
But that's why Guardiola's system and the way Guardiola trains players to be in the right spot at the right time, it works perfect for Sterling. If there's not a goalkeeper in front of him, Sterling's the best striker in the world, fam. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they make him get goals.
It's just a disservice to Hazard as well to be comparing him to Ronaldo, man. It's just not. If you watch the Juve game, you would have seen how Ronaldo carried that team on his back. Do you know what I mean? He tried. He tried as hard as he could.
And man's 34 and got one knee. You guys read about that thing that he's got this major knee problem and he has to go through hell every day to be able to play football. This man is a phenom and deserves nothing but respect. But as you say, I watched the last 10 minutes of that game that was on, and I'm looking at it, and he looks like the only one who's got the ability to get out there and sort
look at that. Ronaldo scoring 2 goals.
Yeah, he banged
in the semi-final, fam.
The second goal was a serious banger, man.
There we go.
Where's Hazard?
Listen, I appreciate you coming on, mate. Actually, we'll keep you on the show. We're going to throw a few more people into this now. We're going to talk Rafael Varane as well because we know he's a top-class defender. But you know what I loved about the mistakes? You've obviously seen my tweets. I literally tweet out every time there's a mistake from a top-level defender, I blame Harry Maguire because Harry Maguire is the only top-level defender that makes these mistakes. And then I always love the responses. Yeah,
Terry, no, you got it wrong because apparently Harry Maguire's not a top-level defender either. So
okay, yeah. So top, and this is the irony. Some guy says it. Well, he only does it once a year, and then he did it again, which is amazing. But equally, if you look at the statistics, okay, losses per game. Rafael Varane gives the ball away through a bad touch or a bad pass 6.8 times per game on average. However, it's something like, I wrote these down actually, but it's 56% of them are in his own half and 22% of them, this is over 5 years by the way, are in his own box. Compare that to Harry Maguire, does give it away more at 7.2 times per game. But like 44% are in his own half and about 12% are in his own box. This is the problem with football fans. There's 2 things. One, most of you defending Varane when I tweeted that, don't watch Real Madrid play football. You don't watch the Liga. You pretend to, but you don't watch them play. So you have no idea how many mistakes he makes. Secondly, you're not overanalyzing any other defender in the world but Harry Maguire. You are myopically. I've seen criticism and I've seen scrutiny of Harry Maguire this season in terms of his defensive position and what he does beyond anything I've ever seen before in the history of defenders. It's unbelievable. If he farts, there'd be an article about it. It's madness, bro. It's crazy. Let's jump into some more callers now. We're going to throw David onto the line and we're going to throw Triggs CFC. Triggs CFC, what do you want to say, bro?
Oh, Terry, man. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. I won't lie, he had a really, really bad game and a bad season in it. But if you watch Eden Hazard, you will never put Sterling in the same conversation as Eden Hazard, fam.
Exactly.
As a footballer, he is superior to Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling is helped by the system he plays in it. When you look at Sterling, even you said it, Elite KJ, just now. Pep puts him in the right positions to score, fam. He puts him in the right positions to score. You can remove Sterling from that wing and plug another player in, and he will do well. Sanchez played well under Pep. Pedro played well under Pep. Every player who plays on the wings for Pep plays well. They all do it.
But there's a flaw to your there's a flaw to your logic. Then why are the other wingers that Pep's brought in to the club been sold after flopping, like Nolito? If anyone can do it, then why did Nolito not perform? Because you're wrong.
I forgot about Nolito, fam. That's just one.
Nolito was there for a minute.
If it was a system, every winger at City would be scoring and performing like Raheem Sterling does, and they're not. So it's not the system helps, of course it does, but this is where these two things go together. It's a system plus a top quality player. If you took out Raheem Sterling and put in Jordan Ibe, would he score the same amount of goals?
No way.
Hold on. He wouldn't. But let's say you put Raheem Sterling in last year's Chelsea team. Do you think we would have finished third and won the Europa League?
Maybe. I mean, look,
no. Terry, the answer is no.
Listen. The reason I say that is we're talking hypotheticals here, and it's so difficult, to do that. We've seen teams lose top players like Chelsea this year, and you actually got better. Chelsea were better this season than last year.
Well.
Hang on, no, because
I do think we were better. Though.
Most people said you were.
I don't think we were.
Part of that is the manager and the system, like I've said, and part of that is the players. Sometimes when you lose a star, it can galvanize you. Who knows? We can't answer that. However, Raheem Sterling is performing. Raheem Sterling is one of the best inside forwards in the world right now. That can't be denounced. And for me, I've said it before. Whenever I do the Mo Salah Hazard thing, I'm looking at players who are on similar levels of ability. Hazard might be better than him with ability. Then when you're on similar levels, what do you compare it? What do you go on? You go on the outputs. I'm not comparing the outputs of a shot of a fluke season by Ryan Fraser and say Ryan Fraser got 20 odd assists. That means he's as good as I take him over Hazard. No, that's a nonsense. If Ryan Fraser was getting 20, 25 assists every season for 4 or 5 years, then maybe you start to look, because that becomes consistency. Raheem Sterling is now performing at a consistent level. So if you were to ask me who do I want, I would go, right, who's scoring more, who's creating more, who's performing more regularly in the big games and the big tournaments, and age comes into it. I would then say Raheem Sterling is now at 25 is surpassing. By the time Raheem Sterling is 29, 30, this age that Hazard's at, he'll have stripped him in terms of goals and assists and trophies won. So
can I say something?
A better player.
If you took Hazard out of the 2015, the 2017 year, I think, where Chelsea won the league, Chelsea don't win the league without Hazard. If you took Sterling out of
if my sister was a boy,
wait 2 seconds. 2 seconds. If you took Sterling out of City's team, they still win the league.
100%.
You took De Bruyne out of that team, they still won the league. They still won the league with De Bruyne injured the whole season. That's how important.
One thing I'm missing out on when it comes to these types of hypotheticals is who's replacing Hazard. If he's out of the Chelsea team, are you talking about just somebody else in your squad, or are you talking about buying somebody? Because the point I'm making is, did City win the league when Nolito was playing?
Okay, let's say you swap Hazard with Sterling. With Sterling in that Chelsea team, I'm telling you, Chelsea don't win the league.
Why?
Chelsea would have been better with Hazard than with Sterling.
Give me one something that isn't a hypothesis and a guess. That's what a hypothesis is. It's a guess. It's an opinion. Give me one piece of factual evidence that backs it up, please.
Because when I used to watch Chelsea, most of their attacks used to go through Eden Hazard. He was one of the main men that used to dictate the attack, that used to run the attack. At City, Chelsea, Sterling isn't as important in the attack. I don't see Sterling as much.
We watched Chelsea last season. They used to pass the ball to Hazard and say, "Get us a goal, some way, somehow, get us a goal."
Exactly.
Dribble up and down,
Sterling,
cut back, fast.
The reason why you guys did that, because you knew Hazard could do that for you. If you had Raheem Sterling, you're not playing the same way that you play, because Sterling don't play like that. So you're gonna change the way you play, so you don't know how it would be, and you could still have won the league with Sterling. You could have.
I agree with Triggs. I agree with Triggs when he says that. I'm not gonna lie to you. In my opinion, when it's all said and done, I think Eden Hazard is a better player than Raheem Sterling, straight up. But also, I would say that I think you're wrong by saying Sterling's a system player because we forget about how good he was at Liverpool as well. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
calling
And
him
how
a
good he is for England too.
And for England, he's come on leaps and bounds.
yeah. So
He's
calling him a system players to give it, it's a disservice to him. I think that's just that's wrong.
And,
Wait,
and that's it. And look, no one knows how good or bad somebody is if they go in different directions. I mean, you guys, I'm sure Triggs did, and I know you said that like how good Hazard would be when he's unshackled and in an attacking team, and that hasn't worked. You all said when he goes to an attacking team like Madrid next year, you will see.
Madrid are not an attacking team, though. Madrid are not an attacking team. Madrid are not.
David, last thing I'll say on this is this, and I'll let you speak, David. Sorry, but it doesn't matter whether they are or not. That's what people like eye test come on this show and said. So what you now admitting to eye test, you don't actually watch Real Madrid and you've got no idea what you're speaking about. Because I don't watch Real Madrid. But for me, I would say Real Madrid attack. I wouldn't say I don't think they're a negative team.
They've definitely been defensive this season.
They're defensive team.
Okay, that's this season. I don't watch them, so I will bow down to superior knowledge. But everybody said, watch Hazard next year. Watch what we'll do in a Real Madrid team, not a boring, negative Chelsea. And again, if he has gone to another team that's negative and boring, more for him. That's his fault still. It's his decision. David, what do you think?
On the Sarri, he was like, last year he probably should have won PFA Player of the Year. I'm just saying, looking at his numbers and what he did for that team, with the 16 goals and 15 assists in the Premier League, that was the one time he's played under a genuine attacking manager, and I think that was his best season.
Still Van Dijk deserves Player of the Year.
I'm not mind that, but I'm saying that Hazard argued very easily could have won it.
And you know what? Look, I think Hazard's great. I think he's a great Premier League player. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he's got abundance of the talent. My issue is, and I will go in hard, I will go in raw, I will go in bareback because people.
Terry, you're an idiot, fam.
people, exactly. I'll go in raw. Sorry.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not. People need to stop it when it comes to doing that. We're going to add a few more people to this call. Triggs and ITS, thank you both for coming on, mate. Really do appreciate that as always, mate. Cheers, boys. Thank you. And listen, you can come on here. The one thing of this show is you can come on here and challenge me respectively. We're always Winter Surfer's now coming on. We've got Rack singing in the house. Winter Surfer looking like he's bored stiff. There he is. Winter Surfer, you good, mate?
Is he frozen?
I think he's frozen. Oh, he's back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. I just want to these Hazard fans. I'm a Chelsea fan. Fanboys really annoy me. I was a Chelsea player until they stopped wearing the blue shirt. But I have to admit, Hazard wasn't good at all today. And I'm sick of this thing about giving them that, it's down to the system. If you're a world-class player, it doesn't matter what the system is. Look how many times Ronaldo's been moved around. Striker, left wing, he just keeps bombing them in. And I'm just tired of.
Mate, you're cutting up. Sorry, that really cut out there. We'll try and call back on a better line, bro. We'll get you up.
Rack, is that a fresh beard trim, I see?
Big up David with a fresh trim as well, man. Lockdown beard had to go.
Take off that shit. Liverpool out, man. Take it off.
I want to speak a bit about the game tonight and talk Man City because obviously really good result from their point of view. You've got to think like they just beat Real Madrid 4-2. That can't scoff that.
They beat Varane.
Varane was absolutely poor today, you know. Rafael.
I'm not gonna lie. Even if they had Sergio Ramos, Man City would have still won because Real Madrid had nothing going forward, completely nothing.
Do you know what I thought tonight? I respect Ben. I think Benzema is one of the most underrated players of the last 10 years. I was watching Real Madrid tonight, and I didn't want to tweet it because I actually wanted them to be knocked out. I don't even know why. I just have this. I want them out. But it's the first time I've watched a Real Madrid team play in years where I look at them and I'm like, there's nothing about them that's scary.
Yeah,
this is the thing, Terry. Like, what you know, like all the big English teams now, like we're past the peak Messi and Ronaldo era now, and in the peak Messi and Ronaldo, obviously Barca won the several Champions League, Real Madrid won several Champions Leagues. Now we're into an era where the big English teams who are at the top can win several Champions Leagues. Like, I'm so gutted that we got knocked out by Atletico, because this is a year where I can see KJ. but I'm gutted, man, because we could have won it this year as well, and that would have been 3 finals in a row, 2 wins, and it's shit. But Barca and Madrid are definitely beatable. Bayern and PSG for me are the favourites at the moment, but they're not without their holes, and that's good to forward to.
So strong. English teams are so strong at the minute in Europe. If you look over the last, say, 3 or 4 seasons, so many English teams get into finals. Like, we're going for in both Europa and Champions League. Like, there's legitimately a stronghold coming, and I still think the Chelsea's and Man Uniteds are going to get better. As an example, so we might have a nice little sort of, you remember, sort of 05 through to about 2011, 2012. There was that period.
United Chelsea era.
The United Chelsea era there was mad, absolute madness. Baz One's joined us. How you doing, mate?
I'm pretty good, guys. Just finishing off work here in North America, So good to get into the show. Wanted to say, I remember I watched this back on the Hazard thing. I watched this interview last year. It was a lady talking to Hazard. He was practicing or doing something with Hudson-Odoi, kind of like a promotion thing. And it was after like a game where they played really bad, and Sari questioned the character of this team. And she was like, does it bother you when the coach says that? And right away, he's just like gave an attitude type of answer, like, I don't give a crap what he thinks, right? And I'm just thinking, like, he's doing a promotion for the club. Kids are looking up to this guy, and the first thing he doesn't own up to his own stuff. So you're right when you're saying, like, you could see a huge decline of this guy. It's because he doesn't care about anyone but himself, and he is gonna flop, and they're going to sell him next year after he does another season like this. And I put up the super chat because I think that's huge business. You get £100 million for that player. You're laughing because it could have easily you could have easily signed him for 5 years and had a situation like Gareth Bale or something like that, right?
This is true. I mean, this could end up being, it's a long way off. We've got to wait and see what happens next season.
For sure. He has a chance to get better.
This could be Chelsea's version of Liverpool selling Torres. Like, you sold him when he was just
No. Don't disrespect Torres. Torres made 50 million with 1 goal. So
no, Dave, no.
Dave's spinning. This is Dave. Dave's like,
that's like me saying because Sanchez scored in the FA Cup semi-final
of Chelsea.
Don't disrespect my guy. That guy,
no.
Goal Champions League I've ever seen.
No. Yo, Dave, stop capping, fam. That's like me saying because Sanchez scored in the FA Cup semi-final against Tottenham, he was worth all the money he was paying for him. It ain't
David, we know about your education. Your new nickname now is Tory Dave. You got bare spin drop. Tory Dave. That's you now. The spin drop here. Absolutely no way. Who do you guys, Baz? I mean, the Champions League is of course we love it. I mean, it's obviously all football isn't quite as good without crowds. I mean, in fairness, tonight's game was about as atmospheric as
it normally is.
Anyway, who do you look at? Who do you look at as being favorite?
Interesting. You have to go with Bayern because they're the most informed team. But the trouble is that they've had the longest layover since the season. The Bundesliga finished really early, right? So it'll be interesting to see how they look in the second leg versus Chelsea.
PSG, France didn't even start back, did it? So PSG probably as well.
Oh, too. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We'll have to see what they look like too, right? But I mean, I think Bayern Munich is just from the net all the way to the front is just a solid team. Like everything part of that team is good.
They're still not through yet.
Nah, listen.
Hey man, anything could happen, right?
I'll say this.
I am going to put a bet though on Chelsea to qualify tomorrow, like a little £5 thing, because you'll make some money. Like it's worth it, just in case.
Terry,
Just in case.
you know what's funny? Last year, I was just talking to some friends, and it was before the PSG game, and I was like, you know what? I bet you we're going to win this game 3-1, and I know Rom is going to score. So I looked up what the odds were on that before the game. It was 67-1.
Wow.
And then I bitched out on the bet, and it actually happened.
Ah,
I
dude,
know.
you would have got
I
some
know.
money, bro.
I
Sorry,
know,
if I
but
was,
that just shows that, you know what? If you have a hunch, just jump on it. Throw a
If-
little
if-
fiver on it, whatever.
If I was to list the teams to win the Champions League, I would put Man City first, but I would put Atletico Madrid in second because we are going to a one-game format, and
Yes.
they are
Simeone,
going to
man.
be a really
That's
hard
my
team.
guy. That's my guy.
That's why when you look at the RB Leipzig, the Atalantas of this world, that's why they've got half a chance. Because do you know what normally happens with those smaller teams? And Atletico, I will say, a smaller team is how often have you seen? Again, someone will probably throw the fact that this is guesstimating here rather than fact. But it feels like those teams often get like Lyon. I mean, what Lyon did is amazing. If Lyon would have played the return leg a couple of weeks later, I think they might have lost, right? But you know, like you often get the small team will win the first leg, and then the second leg they might get battered or they come back. These one-off games are a different level. You say they're a different psychological battle. There's also no away goals as well, and I think that's different as well. That kind of it changes the dimension of these games. Who knows? Wouldn't it be funny though? I wonder. I actually want the team I want to win it is RB Leipzig because I want Timo Werner to be gutted. No, let me tell you this now. This is about, again, non-loser mentality. If RB Leipzig win it and Timo Werner asks for or accepts a medal, Chelsea put in the transfer market instantly. That is a loser mentality. You cannot.
Wait. One sec. So you know how Richard Delat, Richard Delat, he used to play for United, used to play for Leicester, and was also at loan at Middlesbrough. In one season, the first half of the season, he played for Leicester. And then in the second half, he got loaned out to Middlesbrough. Leicester went on to win the league, and then Middlesbrough got promoted to the Premier League through the playoffs.
Oh, and he got both.
He got both medals.
Yeah, I see it. For me, there's an element. I suppose the league's a little different because you're playing a bigger part. But obviously, knockout football, I think, different. But yeah, for me, I wouldn't be accepting it. You know, that's why the thing I love about Scholes and Roy Keane. Go back and watch footage from. They did lift the trophy in their suits at the stadium, but they looked embarrassed doing that. And Roy Keane, even to this day, you ask him, did he win the FA Cup, the Champions League? He kind of says, no, I didn't play. And that for me is proper mentality. But yeah, that'll be funny. So not Rory Delat. Yeah, I know who you mean. Not Rory Delat from Delat. Someone said Rory Delat. Not man from.
No, not long throw, man. Not the long throw.
Yeah.
The thing.
Go on, mate. Go on, mate.
The thing with City winning, like the thing is, you can't trust City, man. Like this is why I remember there was a game. I think it was around December time when they drew 2-2. I think with Newcastle, and I think what's his name, Shelby scored like the last minute or something like that. And when they drew that game, I knew that we were in the league because you can't trust Man City to pull out a result. And I even when they're dominant, the team will hit them on the counter attack. And I think potentially they're the best team in left in the competition, but they could easily just go hell for leather and get caught on the counter attack, and that's just why I don't trust them. Like I think Atletico definitely have a chance. I wouldn't put that way, but they haven't had the best season this season because they've had a bit of high turnover of players and stuff.
Someone's calling me out here. They're like, "Oh, how dare you say Atletico are a small team?" Okay, let me just again emphasize they're not a small club. But in comparison to Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, they are smaller. Like, that's a fact. Look how many league titles they've won, Champions League they've won in comparison. Look how many fans they've got globally. Come on, bro. Use your brain here. Don't be so triggered. I'm not saying they're Leyton Orient. You know what I mean? It's mad. It's like Tottenham are a pretty big club. But then you stand them next to like Man United, and they're tiny in comparison. It's relative. You know what I mean? It's relative. Do you know what I mean? I'm the tallest person in my house until my dad turns up. Do you know what I mean? And I'm really short because he's 6'3". It's
got like one
relative.
league title in the last 20 years. Like, come on, they're not.
Yeah, like I don't know how many they've got in total. Like,
they're tier 2.
No, they did win one.
Yeah, but one. That's what we're saying. Only one.
Oh, I thought you said they didn't win any. Oh, yeah,
No. But they're like a tier 2 team in Europe.
How many they got is a question I'm asking for. How many league titles have they got?
And you got, remember, a few years ago, not too long ago, they were UEFA Cup team. They were Europa League team. They weren't Champions League.
In fairness,
they've won
10 league titles, right? So that's decent, to be fair. That is decent.
In recent years, they've only won one, I reckon.
They've only won one in the last 20.
I think they didn't qualify a lot of the time though. They'd be the third place in their group and win the Europa League from that.
So this but that also shows that means that shows the level they were at. But if you look at the way they won, they won the league in 2014, then 96, and then it was nearly 20 years prior to that. They won it 3 times in the 70s. They won it once in the 60s. Twice in the 50s and then in the 40s. Like, they're big. They're a big team, but compared to those others, for me, they're small. When you look at like the Real Madrids of, again, you're looking at in their country as well. Real Madrid have won it 34 times. Do you know what I mean? And Barca in the last 25 years have gone on to next levels. Like Barca have stepped up and moved on. In comparison, look, we all know that. I don't even know why I'm justifying it. We all know they're smaller. Jesus Christ. It doesn't take a rocket science to know this. Do you know what I mean?
I would say Atalanta just as dark horses, but unfortunately, Ilicic will be late. Yeah.
Sorry, mate, you broke up really bad. Then I didn't hear what you said.
I said I would love to say Atalanta, but Ilicic isn't playing. So yeah.
Oh, did you hear about he's considering retiring from football?
Yeah, exactly. Basically, Terry, Atalanta's best player is not playing because he allegedly he went home to surprise his wife and he was caught cheating.
He's going through some mental stress.
Also, there's a player that I want to shine light on. He plays for Lyon. His name's Hossim Owa. I'm shocked no one really talks about him. He's such a good player, man. He's so good.
Baller.
You know what I mean?
You got a team of the season on FIFA, and that's all I know about him. So I won't lie, I've never seen him play. But apparently,
Liverpool been linked with him for the last couple of seasons, and so I don't watch the French league that much, but I catch the old game here and there in the Champions League, and as a top young midfielder.
Question is he worth more than 15 million? Because if so, then you can't buy him.
I'm just happy Memphis did the business because he's a player that I wish United never let go in the first place. It didn't work out for him. And if you said to me, would I want him back?
Do you think if he came, let's say we got him in this time where we have the right culture and everything, do you think it would have been a different thing around?
Oh,
Let's say at the same age, though. Definitely.
But I think Ollie would be a manager that could nurture him a bit better. You've already seen how he is with the younger players in our team. So seeing someone like Memphis in an environment like this, I think he would really shine because he's a player that likes that freedom. He likes to express himself on and off the pitch. So when you're trying to compress that and trying to like mold it into something it won't be, then it doesn't go wrong. That Leon, let him do his rap videos, let him do his fashion, let him do all this, and they get the best out of him. And I know it's different levels. I know the levels are completely different.
I think for me, I don't really have an issue with what players are doing outside of football. It's important to have other things, but I think when you're a developing player, like I don't like seeing academy players wearing like multicolored boots. Wear black boots, stay in your lane. Don't get too ahead of yourself until you've established yourself. I almost feel like it isn't because I think it's wrong to do those things. I almost feel like don't bring any unnecessary attention on yourself. Like when you're Usain Bolt and you're lining up before a race and you're dancing and you're talking to the camera, that's cool because you're the GOAT. When you're some dude who's in his first Olympic heat, I don't want to see you do that until you've established. I think for me, it's just embarrassing when it goes. Like a boxer that puts their chin out and they get caught on the chin. That's how I felt Memphis was at United. It's too many things that were like posy. Like, he'd get home after a game and then his missus or someone would take a picture of him contemplating looking out the window. It's like, bro, please don't. Like, it's almost like because all it is, it's like you set yourself up for more criticism. I think you've got to be established before you behave like that. It's a bit like when Tom Cleverley tried to launch a clothing range after about 8 games at Man United. It was like, bruv, stop. Like, so energy was the same. Like, what are you doing? It was like C323 tried launching as a brand. It's like, bruv, you've got to be in this team for 5 years solid, balling before you can think about your own clothing line, bruv. Like, trust me.
Hey, I know a guy in League Two is on claiming mine, and he bangs, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's different.
Very, very
He needs that to survive, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Like no one's watching Colchester United or knows any players on there outside of Colchester. So I mean, yeah,
He ain't a target. Like it's again, it's more about the target because I feel like people, although people try and act like I don't bother me, people become a target and it's kind of on them. Do you know what I mean? It's like these fanboys with Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard's getting so much attention because you make him a really big target. I mean, the amount of food that he eats also makes him a really big target.